Within BLUELOCK's 288 chapters, there has been one player that stands out from the rest as a complete waste of potential. Kunigami Rensuke went from a main character at the start of the series, a hero who was beloved by fans, to changing completely and becoming a ghost in the most recent chapters. As the only player to return to BLUELOCK after being eliminated, everyone was hyped to see this new Kunigami, but unfortunately, his character has been a complete disappointment ever since coming back. Being reintroduced as the perfect striker and then not being able to score any goals by himself, sometimes completely disappearing from games and then turning into a defender, Kunigami didn't meet any expectations after coming back. So what exactly happened to Kunigami's character and why did he end up disappointing everyone with his return? And how can they fix this broken hero, because the potential Kunigami has can make him one of the best characters in the series? To answer that, we first have to start at the beginning of BLUELOCK, because that's how important Kunigami is. He was one of the main characters at the start. Someone who was shown in the first chapters and episodes of the series to have strong weapons as well as a strong will, wanting to become a hero. At the start, Kunigami was the people's goat, a wholesome character that sticks up for others, as well as being a strong player behind that. Kunigami at the start had it all. But after losing in the second selection twice, specifically to Shido, Kunigami is eliminated from BLUELOCK. As shocking as it was, I think it was a good decision. People like Kunigami, so it was shocking to them that he left, and Shido came through the door. Eliminating a fan favorite character just showed you how high the stakes are, but of course, we know this isn't where it ends for Kunigami. With Kunigami's elimination, we get the first mention of the wild card, a second chance for the eliminated BLUELOCKers. And this gave everyone some hope. There was going to be a loser's bracket, and our hero still has a chance at coming back to BLUELOCK. Not only that, the hype it just built, because this is the first time we're seeing something like this in BLUELOCK. People were excited to see what this wild card meant. And of course, at the end of the U20, the doors eventually opened and Kunigami came out of the wild card. Everyone during this moment was hype. It really puts a lot of emphasis on Kunigami. Like, he came back to BLUELOCK, he suddenly looks super different, and he ain't smiling anymore. And as we get into the Egoist League, we find out more about his character that just sets his expectations at an all-time high. Being the lone survivor of the wild card, giving up his hero dream, a quote, perfect striker with no weak spots, and upgraded physical stats. Seriously, he was hyped up to be one of the main characters in the NEL. And the endless amount of potential and questions that came with his character made you excited for what's gonna happen with Kunigami. What happened in the wild card? What changed him? How good is he gonna be? Is he gonna be one of the best players? So with all this hype and so many different things to cover with Kunigami's character, you'd think we'd get a lot of emphasis on him, considering he was also reintroduced over 130 chapters ago. But as the weeks went on and on, it became clearer and clearer what was happening to Kunigami. To everyone's shock, Kunigami was getting the middle child treatment. Kunigami started disappearing in the matches, and it made everyone confused. Because when you hype up a character to the max, making him the only character to return and setting super high expectations on him, when he doesn't even meet half of those expectations, he's gonna be disappointing. You may think I'm exaggerating, but let's seriously explain and look at Kunigami's character during the Egoist League. Everything here points to why Kunigami is a waste of potential. Let's first start with our expectations. Going into the Egoist League, he was hyped up to be a perfect striker, the rank number 3 in Bastard in terms of physical stats, and he proclaimed he was gonna be the best striker in the world. But out of the gate, Kunigami stumbled, and stumbled he did. In the very first match, Kunigami really proved nothing. We do see a little bit of his skills in Barcha, but it gets more outshined by the fact that his impact on the game wasn't as much as we thought. The goal he scored was a free assist from Isagi. He lost to Batra in a 1v1, and to be honest, the highlight was more on Kaiser and Isagi. We all seriously thought Kunigami was going to be a huge player. And you'll see that trend continue for every single game. In Manshine, Isagi and Kaiser getting the spotlight, Kunigami just being there in the background, only scoring because of Isagi's bad shot, which was only bad because Kaiser was in the way. He doesn't make any moves on his own, he got outplayed by Chigiri, and on top of all this, he's emo and we got no explanation for it. After 2 games, you'd think we get some explanation or reasoning for why Kunigami is like this, but this really reaches a peak in the Ubers game, where when you look at Kunigami's highlights, they're all negative. He stole the ball from a teammate and then lost it immediately, lost the hype battle to Ryu, honestly this makes sense, and then ghosted the rest of the match, which is why he only got a 5 million increase for this game. Keep in mind, other players like Isagi got an 100 million increase while he only got 5. Genuinely, Kunigami disappeared during this match, only appearing at the end to block Barou's shot, and that's not even a strike striker feat. Even in PXG, the match that everyone thought was his game, and for good reason. This was his rematch against Shido Ryusei, the person who originally kicked him out. But I think it was kind of a missed opportunity here. I mean, as hype as it is to see these two go against each other again, and I think it does make good use of his skills, the way he did it was just defending him. Remember, Kunigami was introduced as the perfect striker, so instead of scoring, he became a defender. And even though it's a huge feat stopping Shido and it saved them the game, this was not what he was hyped up to be. If you were to pick between Isagi, Rin, Barou, Shido, any of the other strikers, Kunigami would be the last one to get picked. He would be the pity pick, the last pick at recess. Honestly, him defending Shido, I think, is one of the best things from Kunigami so far, but when his expectations was supposed to be a top striker and he's stuck on defense, it makes sense why people weren't satisfied. If they wrote him to do both and really beat Shido, it would have been a way more satisfying revenge, because remember, Shido quite literally changed Kunigami's life. The common trend is that for almost all of these games, Kunigami kind of just disappears and doesn't meet any of the hype or expectations that were set originally for his character. You know it's bad, because at this point, people are wondering what is the point of even bringing Kunigami back. The thing is, it would be okay as long as we saw some progression in his character, maybe an explanation on why he's emo, what happened in the wild card, maybe some impact on the game, you know, all the questions we had when he first got introduced, but we haven't gotten any of that. It's like he's kind of just there. Kunigami is a nothing sandwich. Even in PXG, he still has no development. Kunigami says Shido ruined his life, but there was no flashback, there was no wild card. It's just answers with no explanation. The only development we got was before PXG, when Ego tells Kunigami to throw his ego away and that he is a catalyst to help produce the world's best. Now, what does this mean? Kunigami is used to raise the level of others, but honestly, this contradicts almost everything he was hyped up to be. The perfect striker, the only survivor, the dark horse. It sucks because it's not supposed to be like that, especially with the expectations they gave him. There's just no progress with this character, no explanations for anything he does, and no results to back it up. And it hurts extra because Kunigami was one of my favorite characters at the start of the Egoist League. With his reintroduction, we were just waiting to see what Kunigami can do, and now at the end of the Egoist League, we're still waiting to see what Kunigami can do. And that brings up the big question, what exactly can they do to fix Kunigami's character, especially with the U20 World Cup right around the corner? Because I think Kunigami's character is a gold mine of potential. The first thing to fixing Kunigami's character would be giving us an answer for his personality change. And I think the perfect way to do this would be giving us the wild card. It's a simple answer that would clear a lot of questions. Instead of him just randomly being emo, there is reasoning behind it now. It was only after the wild card that there was a drastic change in Kunigami's character, and if it's a good reason, I think people will understand and appreciate his character way more. What I personally think happened to Kunigami, though, is that he eliminated his old teammates. There needed to be something during the wild card that really triggered Kunigami to change, and during the wild card, we know people who failed the second selection can enter, and some of the other Team Z members, like Kuon the Traitor, Imamura the Forgotten Character, Broke Naruhaya, and the goalie Iemon, all failed. If they all enter the wild card and Kunigami had to eliminate them to survive, it makes sense why he would no longer think of himself as a hero, or he gave up on that dream, because he just crushed his former teammates, his friends' dreams. Again, this would give so much clarity on Kunigami's character and answer so many questions, but that still doesn't explain why he's been putting up a Mickey Mouse performance during the NEL. To be honest, we haven't really seen Kunigami do a standout individual play, either forcing people to help him like Barou in the Ubers, or just completely winning by himself like Rin in PXG, so he really needs some upgrades to do so, and I think the perfect upgrade could be directly tied to his ego. At this moment, Kunigami's ego is kind of at a stalemate. All we know is that he threw away his hero philosophy, so him reawakening it could be how he gets this upgrade. In PXG, it's important to know Isagi and Kaiser both started from 0, and they both scored, so maybe Kunigami can start from 0 with his hero philosophy and score the last goal in PXG by reawakening it, because his current ego and philosophy, the emo one, basically ignores working with other people. This guy thinks he's Batman working alone, but in the PXG game, when Kaiser started from 0, working with the blue lockers like Kiora and Isagi, he became helpful, and same case with Isagi. When he started working from 0 with Kaiser, he was able to stop Rin. So it could very well happen to Kunigami where he starts from 0, reawakening his old hero persona, or maybe a mix between both his hero and emo personalities. Again, I do say maybe because I'm not sure if Kunigami will score during PXG. There's a high chance someone else will, but there is still an opportunity during the U20 World Cup or the training arc before it. So having an ego reawakening can make him play better, as once he had motivation like he did against Shido, he instantly started playing better. And when other strikers like Isagi and Kaiser started from zero, they started playing better. As well as I think they can make him use more of his physical abilities. We never really seen him duel a striker besides Shido, so if he did that before, I think he would win his 1v1s. He would just make it into a physical fight, just like how Chris Prince does in Manshine. Another thing is we've never really seen his physique go lower or at different angles like Agi and Manshine, who has a similarish physique to Kunigami. Both of those could help him score goals and just his impact as a forward, which then gives us the striker Kunigami everyone wanted at the start. And since Kunigami is at his peak, he'll be able to raise the level of everyone else, just like how Ego said, while also sticking out on his own. I highly doubt they'll leave him like this with so many unanswered questions and the most potential with his character. I think if they did fix Kunigami like this, a lot of people would be satisfied with his character. Again, because Kunigami hasn't met any expectations that were originally there at the start of the NEL, people have been disappointed, so I'm excited to see what they do for his character in order to change that. Let me know what you think of Kunigami, whether you've enjoyed his character or thought he's been lackluster so far, and what you think his role should be for the future of BLUELOCK. If you made it to the end though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.